This week's episode is for those of you out there that actually believe that you are too far out of shape or you're too old to start exercising. Now, there are all different levels that result in that perception, but the solution to actually taking charge and getting your health and fitness back is one and the same. Maybe you're in a state of obesity, have lost all flexibility, and have aching joints. Maybe you're wheelchair bound. Maybe you can only walk with the assistance of a walker. And maybe you're just feeling kind of frail in your old age. And maybe, like many people, you've become a little too comfortable on that couch every day. You've dismissed the whole idea that you're capable of doing exercise. So you find yourself after a long day of work, flopped down on the couch and just going through the motions with no motivation and no energy to start doing any exercise whatsoever. Today I'm going to share with you 3 easy steps that you can begin using today to get yourself moving in the right direction. It is never too late to make a positive change in your life, and today I'm going to show you how to do it. Let's dive in. Welcome to episode 31 of the LeRock Show, where I'm here to help you get your fitness back on track at any age and regardless of your current fitness level, so you can spend more quality time with your families, have a brighter outlook on life, and finally find the true joy that life has to offer. I'm your host, LeRock. I'm thinking back, and I'm so thankful that I took the steps that I'm about to share with you today. I'm excited that we get to hang out today, and that I get to sit down and share these little tips and tricks with you so that you can find the answers that you're looking for losing weight, getting that exercise once again in your life, and moving forward with losing that weight and becoming the best version of you. For those of you listening on Apple Podcasts, thanks for listening as you perform your tasks in the day. And thanks for your reviews, because it really does help me get my message out there. If you're watching on YouTube, thanks for having the courage to click on this video today. This video today might be the answer that you're looking for. All you really need is for something to help you get over that psychological hump that you're going through. And you can be very well on your way to some amazing levels of improvement. I look forward to your comments each week, because it only helps to motivate me to make more free content like the video you're watching today, so I can help as many people as possible. Yes, this week, I'm focusing in on those, like yourself possibly, that may be feeling like you're too old or you're too far gone, you're too far out of shape to start doing any exercise at all. Those of you that have simply lost touch and succumbed to the whole idea that maybe you don't have it in you anymore, that you can't possibly change things around, that you can't find a way to start exercising again, losing weight, and becoming the best version of you. Well, I'm here today to tell you that it doesn't need to stay this way, that things can be better, much better. It takes one to know one. And today I'm going to share with you 3 simple steps that you can start following to change it all around. If you take action on these steps I'm about to share with you, you can see results in as little as a week's time. But before we get into that, I want to give you a free gift that can help you kick your weight loss up a notch. It relates to a specific eating approach that I created more than 15 years ago. That eating approach is called Automate Your Plate. Long story short, I spent the majority of my life studying health and fitness. I fell in love with health and fitness at the very young age of 13 years old. And by the time I was in my late teens, I had an amazing physique. But unfortunately, by the young age of 27, I found myself in the state of obesity for the first time. And I managed to, with some really arduous working out 3 hours a day, weighing all my food, counting all my calories, I ended up losing all the weight again and felt that I had found the answer. But unfortunately, 9 years later, I found myself in the state of obesity again for a second time. But the second time is when I finally found the long-term solution to weight loss. I created a roadmap to get myself out of a state of obesity once and for all. And years later, I wrote a book about it that listed out the exact steps I took. It's called Fit Anyway, the 9 Simple Directives to Win at Weight Loss and Change Your Life Forever. It includes 9 directives that take you from knowing nothing about health and fitness all the way to the end where I'm at, a lifetime of feeling healthy, happy, and fit. Now, one of these directives in the book is directive number 3, Automate Your Plate. It's an eating approach that I created that includes not only the biological and scientific methods for losing weight. It considers those, but more importantly, it considers the psychology behind it. It has automation baked right into it. Now, while following Automate Your Plate, I was able to lose 65 pounds in 13 weeks, and I've maintained a healthy and fit body ever since. Now, the advantage of this eating approach is it provides you all the answers you are looking for. Not only what you should eat, but how big the portions should be, when you should eat, and it has automation built right into it. It allows you to eat more frequently than you ever have before, all while shedding significant weight. And those that have tried it and followed it correctly have had amazing results. So yes, I put together a free step-by-step checklist. I call it the Automate Your Plate checklist, allowing you to use it as your very own quick start guide for automating your plate, so you can begin using it and benefiting from it right away. The Automate Your Plate checklist takes everything that I teach on this directive in my book and in my online course, and it simplifies it all down into a single page cheat sheet that you can download and begin using today. For those of you listening on Apple Podcasts or Spotify, you can pick yourself up a copy by going to ethanlerock.com/automate. That's ethanlerock.com/automate. And those of you watching on YouTube, there is a link down below. You can click on it and you can get it there. Seriously, the download costs you nothing, and it could just be the answer that makes all the difference for you. Okay, this week's episode is yet another deeply personal one for me because it's based on my experience. I have vivid memories of sitting on the couch day after day after a long day of work and eating junk food, watching television shows, and really just ignoring my health and fitness altogether. I'd get my daughter some dinner after work, get her settled, and I'd just plop myself down without any care about my health and fitness and without any energy and no motivation in me, and just gaining weight pound after pound after pound. I felt like I was constantly in a continuous state of exhaustion where I just had no motivation whatsoever. I also know many people, unfortunately, that give up on themselves because they feel like they're too old. You know, they don't think they have it in them. They think it's too late for them. You know, maybe they develop some issues with their body where they can't walk very well, or the weight, maybe they become too obese and the weight is just too much for their joints and it's too painful. And they just feel like they're trapped and they can't find a way out. And unfortunately for these people, it just gets worse and worse. They get plagued with, obesity. They get plagued with diabetes, high blood pressure, anxiety, depression, and all the great things that come with, gaining all that weight and being stagnant. Well, I'm here to tell you today that I'm living proof that it doesn't need to be that way. It doesn't need to stay this way either. If you're serious, you can actually get everything back that you want. And you can do this with very little effort at all. It just requires some effort on your part, beginning with a shift in your perspective and the way you think, and then following through with some commitment to yourself when it comes to your health and fitness. So please, by all means, stop the video, get out a piece of paper or a journal and a pen, and get ready to write some things down, because today I'm going to share with you 3 simple steps, 3 little things that you can start today that can change everything around for you. Just think about it. You could find yourself standing here a year from today, smiling, looking back, and being so thankful that you took these steps, that you got yourself up off the couch and you found a way to be young, vibrant, and alive again. And that's what I want for you. Okay, the first thing that you need to work on is your psychology. And you do that. How do you do that? You do that by asking yourself some very important questions. So if you're using an excuse for not doing any exercise, and your excuse is, I'm too old, or I'm too out of shape, I'm too far gone, then there's some important questions you need to ask yourself. The very first one that comes to mind is, am I the only person in the world that has been in this state that I'm in right now that can't seem to find their way out? Am I the only person? Has anybody else ever been here before and maybe found their way out? If that is the case, right, there are people, I'm sure, that are in the same state that you're in right now. It's a very common problem, that have found their way out. So the other question is, Well, how did they do it? How did they find their way off the couch? How did they find their way out of their situation, whatever it might be? Maybe they were wheelchair bound. How did they get themselves to a point where they had a good state of health? What did they do? What were the things they needed to implement into their lives? And then just step through those things in your mind. What would you need to do? And maybe you're not wheelchair bound. Maybe you're not walking with a walker. Maybe you're just sitting there and you're obese and you just don't have any motivation and any energy. So you have to ask yourself, what did those other people do? How did they get out of it? And if they got out of it, that means you can get out of it. You can find a way out. I'm telling you, I know this. And these are the kinds of questions you need to ask yourself. Another question you might want to ask yourself is, if I don't do anything, if I just keep ignoring it, if I keep relaxing when I get done my work and sit on the couch and eat this junk that I'm eating and don't do much with my health and fitness, not much movement, not much thought in my diet. If I keep living this way, what does my future look like? Just sit down and think about that. Instead of ignoring it and taking the easy way out, sit down and think about what the impact will be on you. And even more importantly, think about what the impact of you doing nothing will have on the ones you love, the people around you. Are they already suffering because of your lack of motivation, your lack of enthusiasm when it comes to your health and fitness? You're ignoring it altogether. Are other people being affected? Another question you can ask yourself, okay, assuming you decide that you want to do something about it, that other people have found their way out of this whole problem, the same problem that you're dealing with right now, that you are affecting, your future. Your future might not be too bright. Are you going to gain more weight? Are you going to get high blood pressure? Are you going to possibly get diabetes, heart disease, cardiovascular problems? Do you want to have a future that's riddled with those things? Do you want your family to suffer as you go through these things and you become, someone they have to look after? Is that what you really want for your future? And if you decide that no, you don't want that, then the next thing you need to ask yourself is, what can you do starting today? What steps can you take starting today to just get some momentum, to take charge of your health and fitness? Little tiny steps that you can take. What can you do starting today? Which leads into the second step, the second idea that I want to share with you. When it comes to your exercise, many people have the misconception that exercise needs to be some arduous, strenuous thing, that you won't get any benefit unless you're just killing it in the gym or going for a jog or running somewhere or doing some sort of crazy, like a CrossFit training. Many people in their minds, because they don't really have a good exposure to health and fitness, believe that this is the case. They believe that they're too old, that they're too out of shape in order to do these things, in order to get up and put the jogging suit on and start running down the road. Well, you know what? I agree with you. I believe you might be too far out of shape, or you might be too old to start trying to sprint, run a sprint on day one. You might be too old, or you might be too out of shape to start trying to power lift, 100 pounds over your head on day one. But that's not where you need to start. You need to start where you can, where you are able to do the work. Now, some suggestions that I might have for you is to start with the simple thing that I started with. When I was severely overweight, the second time I was obese, I remember it vividly. I was sitting on a couch one night, and this is when all the change happened. I remember I was watching television, and it was a horrible week. I was feeling depressed and down, disgusted in myself. And I was sitting there yet again on my darn couch, eating a bag of chips, nacho chips that were my favorite. And I was just feeling awful. And it was late at night. It was dark out. And I remember all of a sudden I didn't feel well. And I remember just zoning out. And all of a sudden I could hear this laughter. And I didn't know where it was coming from. I was looking around. And what I realized, strangely, is that it was in my head. I was hearing the laughter of myself. And all of a sudden, I could see through the eyes of myself as a young boy. And I call it my glimpse, the glimpse that changed me forever, and it did. And I was looking down, and I'm looking at the sidewalk skimming by, and I'm trying to jump the cracks in the sidewalk. And I look up, and as I look up in front of me, I can see my old neighborhood. I can hear a lawnmower cutting the grass off in the distance. I can hear the birds singing. I could feel the sun shining down on my face. And it was just this feeling of pure joy. This feeling of pure joy that I had when I was a child. I was seeing this vividly, this vivid memory in my mind. And then in an instant, it was all gone. And that's truly all it was. It was a simple glimpse. But what it did to me, it made me realize that I hadn't felt joy in a very long time. It also made me realize that I haven't moved like that in a very long time. And that movement was the key. That movement was what is going to get me to where I wanted to be. So what I did is I jumped off the couch. I still remember it. Went and got my big winter coat, strapped it on, and it was winter time. And I went for this super long walk. It was like an hour and a half walk. And I'm not recommending you go for an hour and a half walk, but that's what I did. I couldn't run, but I knew I could walk. I had the capability in me to walk. And I just kept doing that each day, a little more and a little more and a little more. And it gave me the mental ability to believe in myself again, that I could do these things. And then what followed shortly after that was this intense self-reflection that I talked about and all this research that I did where I created my own roadmap to get out of the whole thing. But the very first thing I did, and what I suggest for you, is to take those first steps. You can do this. I don't care if you're wheelchair bound. I don't care if you have a walker. And if you're in better shape than that and you have all your faculties and you're just a little heavy, then you definitely can do this. Now, if you are in a state where you can walk, you have all your faculties, then the next thing after walking that I suggest to you, the next little baby step, is to do some body weight exercises. You can do assisted body weight exercises as well. So for some examples of that, you can, in your house, you can use a chair to kind of do, assisted squats. So you can just try to do a few, 1, 2, 3, whatever you can pull off, and just see if you can stand up and crouch down. Stand up, crouch down. And if you can do that, great. If you can't do it too well, grab a chair or a wall and just use that to take some of the weight off and just slowly start getting your body used to the movement. Okay? That's one idea. Another one is you can just get some cans out of the cupboard and do some curls with some cans. Get your muscles moving a little bit. Or something heavier if you can handle it. If there's something you can find, if you do have access to some weights, perfect. Use those. And if you don't and you have a little bit of money, you can buy some, right? And you can start doing this yourself at home without anybody knowing, without having to go in front of people. You can do this. These are the things that I've done in my life and I know that work. You can try getting on the ground and doing some push-ups, okay? Just simple push-ups. And if you can't do a push-up, don't feel like you're alone because many people can't do push-ups. Start by doing them with your knees on the floor and just trying to lift your body with your knees on the floor instead of your feet. It's a lot easier. It's a good way to get started. And it's a little bit at a time. And there's no reason to be embarrassed or feel bad about it because you're taking charge of your life. What you should feel is thankful and excited about the whole thing, honestly. Because you're taking charge and you're changing things to the way you want them to be. And the other thing you really need to consider when it comes to physical activity is you need to be doing something that you actually enjoy doing. Something that's congruent with who you are on a spiritual level and on a personal level. It's the only way I can talk about it, but something that you're not just doing because someone told you to do. You're doing it because it's something that you actually enjoy. So say the only thing you enjoy in life is walking, then just do that if that's really what you want to do. Now, I wouldn't suggest that a person just does that, but I'd rather you do just that if that's what you're going to do and nothing else. You know, if you're just going to find yourself back on the couch again, watching television, doing nothing, then do it. Do whatever you're going to do, whatever is going to fulfill you inside and make you feel happy. And the one caveat to that, the one thing I say that I recommend is don't be afraid to give things a chance either. Not everything is super simple on day one. So you might try something out and say, you don't like it. Well, maybe it's not that you don't like it, you just haven't given it a chance. You need to give some things a reasonable chance before you move on and say, just dismiss it as something you just don't want to do. But the most important thing is that you do something. Do anything, do something, and start doing it today. So we got our mind right. We're thinking a little bit more clearly by asking ourselves some probing questions. We figured out that there's some sort of movement, some sort of exercise that we can do. And we're going to start doing it today. Well, the next thing you need to do is you need to actually sit yourself down with a piece of paper and start writing out your own plan, your exercise plan. Now, I am a proponent of having a personal life plan where you plan out all the things you need to do in your personal life, not only your health and fitness, but everything. You know, your relationship stuff, your family stuff, your financial stuff, all these things you need to do in your lifetime, right? And make time for each of these little things so none of them fall behind. So you don't find yourself overwhelmed and buried, just flailing without a plan in life. But in this particular case for you, someone who's feeling too old, too out of shape, who wants to start moving forward in the right direction, I suggest that you develop an exercise plan, a simple exercise plan. And what that plan should include is your overall big picture goals, okay? In your case, maybe it's how much weight do you want to lose? Sit down and think about that. And then determine when do you want to lose it by, okay? Now you're starting to think about when is your target. It's no longer just I'd like to lose a few pounds. It's I'm going to lose this much weight and I'm going to lose it by this date. And when you pick that date, what I want you to do is I want you to work your way back to how much time that would be. So say you want to lose 100 pounds in 10 weeks. Well, how much is that per week? And then how much is that per day? Okay. Or how much is that per month, per week, and per day? Okay. And that way it gives you something that is measurable, that you can hold yourself accountable to each week. A plan will keep you motivated and accountable, just like I said, because you'll have that check that you can check each day. You'll have that little checkbox that you can check each week. And you'll be able to start feeling this sense of accomplishment and pride in yourself that will just keep you motivated and give you momentum to move forward. I'm telling you, this stuff works. And think about it. Has living without a plan been working for you? Has it really been getting you to where you want to go? Maybe you can trust in me on this one. Just sit down, take that time. It takes about 30 to 45 minutes to write out a plan. And it should start with this big goal plan, big picture plan like I was talking about. And again, obviously, there isn't anybody following you around that's holding you accountable to anything. When it comes to your health and fitness, for sure. There's nobody that's, telling you what you should do each day. Therefore, you need to take that upon yourself. And again, that's another reason why I think it's so important to develop a plan for your exercise. Now, once you have this plan and you've gotten started on your whole health and fitness exercise routine, each day, I want you to go back to the plan and hold yourself accountable by checking some of the measurable things that you can measure. The first one is, did you actually get your exercise in for the day? That's an easy one. That's either a yes or a no. And the next one is, the exercises that I did I achieve what I wanted to achieve in those exercises? Now, I don't know which exercise you picked out, but say you're just starting out and you're going for a walk and your goal is I want to walk 10 minutes per day. Did you make your 10 minutes, for example? It's a time thing. Or say you start working out with some weights and you want to lift a certain amount, whatever that body part might be, the amount of weight you want to lift. Did you achieve the weights that you wanted to lift? Or did you achieve the number of repetitions that you wanted to do? And then just reflect on that. The next thing that you ask yourself is, okay, if I didn't make it and I didn't achieve what I wanted to achieve, what can I do tomorrow to get it so that I do achieve it, so that I am successful? And if you did achieve it today, what did you do differently today? What was that thing, that little special thing you did that got you to where you want to be? Because that's just as important to be thinking about. Because those are the true answers that will get you to where you want to be in the future. They will help push you through. They'll help make you realize that not every day is going to be a positive day. Not every day is going to be one where you win. But if the little takeaways you learn as you do win, you use those in the future, well, then they'll prevent you from feeling down on yourself, and they'll keep you motivated along the way. And again, like with any exercise, the goal should always be to gradually increase things as you move forward. Gradually increasing that time, whether it be 30 seconds, whether it be a minute, whatever that is you're doing that applies to time, or gradually increasing those weights, or gradually, if you're doing like yoga poses, gradually increasing those poses so that you have something that where you're getting momentum, where your muscles are growing. Because when those muscles grow, that's the whole point of exercise. There's the cardiovascular side of it, but growing the muscles to me is one of the most important things you can do. Because the bigger your muscles get, the more calories they burn while you're doing nothing, while you're just sitting, while you're sleeping. You burn more calories to feed those muscles. And to me, that's one of the most important things about exercise that you need to keep in mind. Now, the other part of this whole plan thing is you need to review it each week. So not only on a daily basis, but also on a weekly basis. You need to see how you perform for the week. And again, the first thing is, did you hit all those workouts you planned in your plan to hit? And did you achieve whatever it is you set out to achieve? Whether it be a time thing again, whether it be a weight or a repetition thing again, or whether it be holding your poses or whatever it might be, what you've chosen for your exercise. Did you achieve those things? And then what I want you to think about on your weekly review is, what are you going to do for next week? Are you going to increase those goals? Are you going to set yourself up for something a little more challenging? Or are you just going to do another week the way you did last week? And that's fine too, as long as you keep going at it. You keep remaining consistent, because consistency is the key. That is the real answer for living a lifetime of being healthy and fit. And also during these weekly reviews, this is when you should be checking your weight. How much weight did you lose, or how much weight did you not lose, or how much weight did you gain? Now, those are your three variables. And look and see how you made out. And either way, you need to make intelligent decisions. So say the answer is you lost some weight. Well, the intelligent part of that is, what did I do this week that helped me to lose that weight and got me to where I want to be? And make sure that you put that into your next week, because that's just going to help ensure that you're going to where you want to go. Now, maybe the answer is you stagnated and you didn't lose any weight. Then you got to start thinking about, what can I do? And again, it's not all black and white math science either. And that's something I got to be honest with you about. There are going to be weeks when you give it everything you can and you just don't lose any weight. You just stagnate. And that's okay, because it does happen sometimes. And then there's going to be other weeks where you're kind of thinking, I kind of didn't really give her. Didn't really try too hard, and you're going to drop all this weight. Those anomalies happen because the body is extremely adaptive. This wonderful body that we've been given is amazing at survival. And it's doing all these things in the background that always don't make sense when it comes to black and white math. But on the most part, if you find that you are either gaining weight or you haven't lost any weight, then the logical thought is, what can I do next week to bump things up a little bit, things that I can control, which is I can increase my time, I can increase my pounds that I'm using within reason, not injuring yourself, but making sure you stay within safety. Or I can increase my repetitions. There are other things too. There's also, you gotta always be thinking, I'm talking about exercise today because I'm trying to motivate you into getting yourself moving again. But it's also your nutrition. If you're doing all these things with your exercise and you're not doing anything when it comes to your nutrition, and you're not thinking about what you're putting in your mouth, well, you're going to be fighting a losing battle there. I'll tell you that right now. You need to really make sure you are doing everything you can when it comes to your nutrition as well. And it doesn't have to be hard. So in summary, you're never too old or too out of shape to change everything around, to get your health and fitness back to where you want it to be. It's just not the case. It's just a mental roadblock that you're creating in your mind, an excuse maybe that you're using in your mind that stops you from getting where you want to be in life. It stops you from taking any action at all. It's our own little self-sabotage that could actually be our demise in life. It has potential to inflict pain, not only on ourselves, but on the ones around us that love us. And once you understand that, and you come to this realization, it gives you extreme power and control to take charge and make everything the way you want it to be. And you can do this with these 3 little steps that I shared with you today. Starting with your psychology, asking yourself those probing questions. Are you the only person that has ever gone through this and felt like they were too old or too out of shape? And if not, what are others doing out there that are in the same state, and how did they get it all back? And if I don't do anything, and if you don't do anything, what does your future look like? What will it be like? Will it get worse? Likely, right? Will other people around me suffer? Likely, right? So the other question is, what can you possibly do starting today that's safe, that's within your limits, that can get you starting to moving forward with some physical activity? What exercise can you do? It's a lot better than saying all these things that you can't do in life, but just focus in and determine what you can do within your physical abilities and go with that. And after you've got your psychology right, realize that exercise does not need to be crazy intense. It does not mean that you have to get your sneakers on and your jogging suit on and start sprinting down the road for 20 minutes. It does not need to be any of that. It can be whatever you choose it to be. In fact, I encourage it to be something that you will actually do. Some physical activity that you enjoy. And now, because we're talking about being too old or too out of shape, I'm assuming you're in a real bad state. So it needs to be within the realm of what you can do. But it needs to be something that you'll enjoy, that you can actually do, and you'll do for the long haul. Because if you pick something that you don't enjoy because I tell you to do it, or somebody out there instructs you to do it, or you've seen somebody else do it, the chances are you're going to quit on it over the long run. Unless you just accidentally stumble into it and find that you actually enjoy it. But on the most part, you need to be doing something that you actually enjoy and you'll do for the long term. So once you determine that, you need to actually load that into a plan. The third thing is you need to have that plan. And it has to be the big picture plan, starting with how much weight you want to lose, and later on it can be more intricate, but I want it to be simple because you want to just get started with some simple momentum. But there's other things you can check. You can have blood pressure goals, you can have cholesterol goals, you can have your fat percentage goals. There's many things that your measurements, your body measurements, but I didn't want to complicate that today. I want you to focus in just on your weight for now. And once you have those goals established, I want you to reflect on those goals daily. I don't want you to just write it down on a piece of paper and put it off somewhere. I want you to, be at it every day, looking at these goals and then measuring yourself according to those goals. How did you perform today? And then on a weekly basis, also, I want you to come back and I want you to reflect. I want you to look how you performed for the week. Did you get all your workouts in? How did you do when you're going through your workouts or whatever exercise plan it is you plan to do, even if it's just simple walking? And then plan out your next week. What are you going to do next week in reaction to your results from last week. It's that simple. And with these three things, with your psychology, with determining the right exercise and wrapping that all into a plan for yourself, imagine the amazing success that you're setting yourself up for. The truth is that if you simply choose to do nothing and continue along the path that you're on today, then there definitely won't be any change, no positive change in your life as it stands right now. And unfortunately, it'll likely get worse. Take it from someone who knows. It'll likely get worse. And that knowledge means you have some amazing power to make a choice today and begin taking charge of your health and fitness, because everything is possible for you. You can be like me, looking back at that, bumbly version of yourself sitting on that couch that day, who didn't have a clue, didn't know where to start, couldn't figure out, oh, poor me, I can't move. Oh, if I walk up a flight of stairs, I can't breathe. That's where I was at. And be on the other side almost laughing because you're like, I can't believe that I bought into that. I bought into that whole scenario. Because I'm telling you, I'm here today. I could stand up right now. I don't run at all. I don't do any cardio. I could stand up right now and I could probably run a 25-minute 5-kilometer, right? I can lift weights. I can jump. I can run. I have the heart rate of an athlete. And if you looked at me back then and said that to me, I never would have believed it. I'm telling you that that's all possible for you too. Just a little bit of effort, a little bit of motivation, it goes a long way. But you need to do that for yourself because nobody else is going to do it for you. So I encourage you to get up off that couch. Do these 3 little things I've suggested, these 3 simple steps. And then come back to the channel. Watch some of my other videos. They're all peppered with all kinds of things that are based on your psychology. Because psychology is the number one most important thing that will have an effect on whether you succeed or fail in anything you want in life, especially with your health and fitness. And yes, today I talked a lot about exercise. Exercise is a very important component of losing weight and living a healthy life. It's just the movement itself, the momentum of it will get you really far in life. But one of the things I didn't talk that much about today is nutrition. And it's actually more crucial than exercise. And if you're clueless there and you have no idea what to do with your nutrition and you don't know any way to develop your own balanced eating approach, then I encourage you, like I did earlier in the video, to download my free Automate Your Plate checklist. It's based on that eating approach that I created more than 15 years ago, the Automate Your Plate eating approach. It's directive number 3 in my book and in my online course. It teaches you what to eat, what the portion sizes should be, what the frequency should be. It has automation built right into it. So you don't have to think about it. All of that has been factored in. It has the ability to save you 11 hours of your life every week. I've done the math on it. I've done conservative math, black and white math, and it shows you can save 11 hours of your life every week. Imagine what you could do with those 11 hours. You could probably find time to get to the gym or find time to do the exercise you're planning to do. And just start changing your whole life in the process. You can get yourself a copy of that by going to ethanlerock.com/automate. And if you're watching on YouTube, you can click on the link down below and you can get it there. And if you have any questions about this week's episode, or if you're trying to figure out your own little exercise plan and you hit a roadblock and you have any questions, please drop a comment below the video and I'll be sure I'll likely reply to the comment, or I might make a video that the entire community can benefit from in the future. I am full of humble gratitude, delight, excitement for you today, because I know that you can do this. You have the power within you, regardless of what age you are or what shape you are in today. You have the power within you to sit down at that table and start planning things out. Write down this plan of what you're going to do. Decide what exercise you want to bring into your life. You have that power within you. And you can find yourself in the very near future in a state of amazing health, amazing fitness, looking back and smiling like I am. So get going, move forward, and get started on being that amazing, youthful version of you that I know is just waiting on the other side. Now have an awesome day and remainder of the week. And until we meet again, stay healthy, be happy, and live your life with intention every single day.